Usually it's hot and humid in St. Louis, but this series has been very comfortable. Sun shining, and as usual, a big crowd pouring into beautiful Busch Stadium for the middle game of this three-game series, the Reds and the Cardinals, here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, good evening, everyone, on this Bow Tie Tuesday, along with our bow tie connoisseur, Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Jim Kelch, and welcome to Reds baseball. Well, the big news here in St. Louis last night for the Reds was not so much that they lost the game, but the fact that the news came out afterwards, Chris, about Billy Hamilton.
Well, you had a feeling leading up to it that it was not going to be good news overall for Billy. He kept saying that his arm hurt. They put him back in the lineup. Every time he'd throw the ball, it would hurt. So they weren't sure whether they're going to need surgery or not. This is where the injury occurred. It's his right arm, his throwing arm, and you see the hyperextension right there. He throws off balance right there. That aggravated it. And this is the kind of thing when you got a ball club that is playing the way the Reds are, they've got no chance of being in contention. Get them out of here, get them fixed, get them ready for spring training, and hope that Billy Hamilton next year will have the kind of impact year the Reds were hoping for this year. You see the on-base percentage right there at 22.6%. That is not getting it done, folks. And it's not just these numbers right here that bother you about Billy Hamilton. It's if you look inside the numbers, it's the times that he does not hit the ball on the ground. He's got to do that more often. He's got to cut down on his walks. He's got to learn how to bunt. And if you just change a couple of little things about Billy Hamilton's approach, like the number of walks he gets, it's amazing what he will be able to do, because here's a guy that stole 57 bases with an on-base percentage of 227. You get that on-base percentage up to 327, the guy's 100 stolen base year a guy, no question about it.
Well, here's Walt Jocketty and Billy Hamilton last night after the game.
The idea to do it now is to get it done so he can get started on his off-season conditioning and program, getting ready for spring training, which starts November 1st for him.
No one wants to really have surgery and be out a long period of time from baseball. And like I said, this is one of my big off seasons where I was kind of looking forward to it, and I was going to do a bunch of work. But I told him whatever I got to do to make it better, we can do it. And I just figured that if we can go ahead and do the surgery right away, I still have my off-season plans that I had planned to go ahead and keep doing them. So, but it's just something that we all decided that was best for me and was best for the team, and to look forward to more of next year. And it's a decision we made. I mean, I'm up for it.
He will play center field for the Reds, a man who's been playing it basically for the last month, Jason Bourgeois.
Well, he's had an opportunity, and he's done pretty good. You can see what he's done in the last 10 games. He's 30 years old, so Jason Bourgeois is trying to latch on for a few more years in the major leagues, and I like what I've seen. He gives you a little consistency. He battles you out there. He's not as fast as Billy Hamilton. He doesn't cover as much ground. He doesn't have as good of an arm as Billy Hamilton does. But in the meantime, Jason Bourgeois has answered the call and done a fine job.
All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, a look at the pitching matchup for tonight's game. Couple of right-handers, Kivas Sampson for the Reds, John Lackey for the Cardinals.
Well, you know, Kivas is a guy that has impressed you with his stuff, but not necessarily his performances. I mean, the last 6 starts, I mean, they're about as ugly as you can get. 0-4 with a 10.0 earned run average, a batting average around 400. But Kivas needs to forget all that, because if he finishes strong right here, the next couple of starts, you know, you're going to leave a better taste in everybody's mouth when you watch him. He's got a fastball that he's trying to sink, but the problem is it doesn't have much sink on him. I think Kivas is more effective if he pitches up in the zone with a 4-seam fastball rather than try to pound the ball at the knees. His breaking ball and his changeup are pretty good pitches. The guy needs to throw more strikes. He's got the ability to do it, and he's getting a major league chance tonight.
On the Cardinals side of things, John Lackey, and he's having a very good year, Chris, but 4 times he started against the Reds this year. Reds have won all 4 games.
It's amazing, and he's had very good games in a lot of those starts against the Reds. 12-9 overall. He's had 15 quality starts here at home in as many tries. So this guy really dials it up here at Busch Stadium. He's a guy that's not overpowering, but I can tell you, on game day, he's surly. He'll stare in at the umpire. He'll stare down a hitter. I mean, he doesn't back down to anybody. He's a big, tall, strong dude. He's etched himself out a real good career, and he's going to be a tough hombre on the mound tonight.
All right, coming up, our Jim Day has more on a healthy Dat Dude.
Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy, check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. 2 of a 3-game set. I'm Jim Day on the field just outside of the Reds dugout. We've seen what a healthy Brandon Phillips can do even at this point of his career. Since the All-Star break, he has been very, very good. In fact, overall, he's closing in on a 300 average for the season because since the All-Star break, look at the numbers, 321 average, 7 home runs, 35 runs driven in. And he's a contact hitter through and through. We'll back that up with our IGS bringing the energy. More RBI than strikeouts, minimum 60 runs batted in this season. Nolan Arenado is having an incredible season. And Posey, Ramirez, Daniel Murphy, and then Brandon Phillips, 66 runs driven in, and has struck out only 61 times. He's a pure contact hitter, as I said, and a bad ball hitter as well. Not many Ks in the column for Brandon Phillips. He'll face a good one, though, tonight. John Lackey versus Kivas Sampson. Lineups and first pitch from Busch Stadium in St. Louis on your home for Reds baseball. Fox Sports Ohio.
Retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, Brandon Phillips, we just talked about him with our Jim Day having an excellent year, and he'll try to lead the Reds to a victory here in the middle game of this series, giving the Reds a chance, if they can do that tonight, to win this series tomorrow night in the finale of this 9-game road trip. Let's take a look at the Reds starting lineup for tonight's game, brought to you by Meyer. There's the man we talked about earlier. He'll get the bulk of the playing time in center. Jason Bourgeois, he'll lead off. Jay Bruce into the number 2 spot with the right-hander going. Then Votto, Phillips, Frazier, and Pena in the middle of the lineup. First start for Pena since the 8th of September. Then Suarez, Duvall, and Sampson against the right-hander John Lackey. I don't know, maybe a career year for him this year.
Well, he certainly is the guy on the spot right now that has come up big for the Cardinals. He's reached 200 innings for the first time since 2010 when he pitched 7 shutout innings his last start against the Milwaukee Brewers. He's just solid all the way around. I mean, those numbers, win-loss, could be a lot better than 12-9 if they could just get him a few runs in support. He has not had any runs with which to work, really, when he pitches against the Reds, but he is a tough guy to beat, especially here at Busch Stadium.
Here's what he's done against the Reds this year. This is what we were talking about. 4 starts with an 0-2 record, but a very good ERA of 3.33. The Reds have won all of those games. I hope that continues on here tonight. All right, sit back, relax, and enjoy Reds baseball from St. Louis tonight. Bourgeois steps in to lead it off. A strike called, says Jerry Davis, the crew chief of this 4-man umpiring crew, and we are underway. Bourgeois, 243 with 3 home runs. He has a home run on this road trip. In fact, he hit one on Friday against Milwaukee. That was his first since early in the month. And he hit one against the Cubs in Chicago. John Lackey, a dozen wins this year, 2.79 ERA, meaning he has now won in double figures in 13 of the last 14 years. And the only reason he didn't get it in that 14th year is because he was out having undergone Tommy John surgery. Breaking ball gets Bourgeois, and that is out number 1. Look at this number now. Since the middle of June, the 5th lowest ERA in the National League. Jake Arrieta right there at 1.25. He's going for his 20th win tonight.
I would take that rotation, maybe even in that order.
Wouldn't that be something? Here's Bruce back and elevated to the number 2 spot with a right-hander Lackey on the mound.
Well, the Cardinals have proven, and Lackey's really maybe the poster child for this, that you can win with a mediocre offense. And they've not scored very many runs at all, especially since the All-Star break. If you have good pitching, they've got solid starters. They have a very good bullpen. I'm not talking about the closer, but the lead up to the bullpen has been very good.
Bruce, a high, deep drive to right, and the Reds jump in front early. Second career home run by Bruce against John Lackey, and that is the 5th home run on this road trip for Jay Bruce. To tell you, he got all of that thing, didn't
well,
he?
I'll tell you, the home runs that he hit in Milwaukee were second deck jobs out there. And I want to say that he got a slider. It looks like maybe a little bit of a off-speed pitch, maybe a two-seamer that Lackey was trying to run down. And Jay Bruce is the one that ran it out of here.
And now is Votto. The Reds jump in front 1-0 tonight, as they did last night when they scored in the first. Bruce closing in now on Ken Griffey Jr. for number 7 all-time on the Reds' career home run list. Jr. at 210. That for Bruce, number 207.
That was an interesting pitch right there. The Lackey threw Joey Votto, threw it all the way to the screen, right over the center of the plate, about 8 feet high.
Lackey 6'6", 235 out of Abilene, Texas. Pitched collegiately as a Texas Longhorn many years ago. Votto starts the day at .313. That's 7th in the league. 28 home runs. Pretty good success against Lackey in his career. Last night when Joey singled in the first inning, extended his on-base streak now to 38 straight games. Third longest in the National League this year, and he was fooled on that one. He strikes out. Take a look at the Cardinals' defensive setup, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Stephen Piscotty gets the start out in left field in this game. Tommy Pham in center, Jason Hayward in right. The infield includes Matt Carpenter at third, Johnny Peralta at short, Colton Wong is at second, and Matt Adams, only his 3rd start since coming off the disabled list, is over at first base tonight. Tony Cruz doing the catching for John Lackey. Yadier Molina came out today and said, I will catch before the end of the regular season again.
And I believe him.
Yeah. Molina injured in that game in the 8th inning on Sunday in Chicago against the Cubs on the throw from Hayward and right. And the tag on the hard sliding Anthony Rizzo. Brandon starts the game at 296, closing in, as Jim Day reported during the pregame, on the 300 mark. Dozen home runs, 66 RBIs, and he had an interesting stat: 66 RBIs and only 61 strikeouts.
Well, you're on a good list when you have more runs batted in than you do strikeouts. You're on a good list when you have more walks than you do strikeouts. Brandon's not on that list, but I mean, he's been efficient. And he's been really still, even with the lineup being a little bit more predictable this year, he's still batted in a number of different spots in this lineup.
To the shortstop, Peralta, to retire the side. But the 25th of the year for Jay Bruce has given the Reds an early lead here in St. Louis. game. In fact, that home run by Bruce went 457 feet, the longest in this Busch Stadium's history by a left-handed hitter. This ballpark opened in 2006. So how about that?
It was a bomb.
Take a look at the Cardinals lineup. They will face the right-hander Kivas Sampson. They have Matt Carpenter lead it off, then Tommy Pham, then Jason Hayward. Peralta, Adams, Piscotty in the middle. Wong, Cruz, and Lackey at the bottom. 10th start of the year for Kivas Sampson. Sampson has won 2, lost 5, a 7.09 ERA with the big league club. Pitch for the Reds AA team at Pensacola, AAA team at Louisville earlier this year. Made 15 starts between the two, 3-game winner there.
Well, if there's only one person in this ballpark who believes that Kivas Sampson can beat the Cardinals tonight, it better be Kivas Sampson himself. Because it's very difficult as a pitcher. You get knocked around a little bit, and pretty soon you're thinking, well, I got to be perfect with all my pitches. He can't think like that. He just has to let it loose, cut it, and fire it, and do what got him to the major leagues. And a lot of that means don't pick around the corners too much. He's gotten ahead of Carpenter here, and he'll work as well as any batter in baseball. But at some point, you've got to come after each and every one of them.
Carpenter is rung up on that 1-2 pitch, and so a good start for Sampson and the Redlegs here in the bottom of the first.
Well, we saw that pitch called on Joey Votto earlier in this ball game already when it was for strike 2 against Votto. It's for strike 3 right here. A little two-seamer right down around the knees, and maybe a little frame job by Brian Pena helped to get a strikeout there.
First pitch swinging Pham, and Phillips will throw him out. So 5 pitches and 2 out here in the bottom of the first. Reds defensive full alignment brought to you by Ford. Looks like this: Duvall, Bourgeois, and Bruce across the outfield. Frazier, Suarez, Phillips, Votto third to first. Sampson and Pena make up the battery. And how about Brian Pena behind the plate for the first time since the 8th of September against Pittsburgh?
You knew something was up when you went in the dugout and you saw his little shrine to his equipment.
You're exactly
right. He's got his 4
right.
bats laying there. He's got all his baseball equipment. He's got it all laid out on a towel like people would maybe lay out their toiletries on a nice towel in their hotel room. Well, he is very particular about his equipment, and you knew something was up when you walked in the dugout this afternoon.
Well, he strained that right hamstring on the 9th of September at home against the Pirates, pinch hitting and getting a double. Came up a little lame, headed towards second base. He pinch hit 3 times in Milwaukee, and he gets the first start here since the injury. Hayward gets that ball through the right side, and he's a 2-out base runner.
You know, the Cardinals are struggling so much for hits and so much for runs, not for wins, but certainly for runs, that I don't know, maybe that has something to do with how fast this infield is. They're going to give him a base hit on that as Votto went over and tried to backhand it and then took a hop over his glove. But I'm telling you, this is like real AstroTurf as fast as it is here. And that can only help the hitters.
Here's Johnny Peralta. Peralta at 271 with 16 home runs. A couple of hits last night. In fact, the only Cardinal that had a multi-hit game. He was 2 for 4. He drove in the tying run in the 8th last night, then scored the go-ahead run on the double by Piscotty. For Sampson, his first appearance against the Cardinals, his second appearance on this road trip. He worked game 1 out in San Francisco 8 days ago. Giants won that game 5-3. He suffered the loss and really was never in a groove at all in that game. But if you go back 2 starts to his start against the Pirates on the 9th of September. He was really very good in that game through 5 innings. In fact, through 5 in that game, he allowed 1 run and 2 hits, and it all kind of came down on him on the 6th inning. Bruce back. Bruce will get there. Peralta out, and so are the Cardinals in the bottom of the 1st. The Cardinals' best record in the season since 1950. That 04 team won 105 games. They, of course, lost to the Red Sox in the World Series. The 67 team defeated the Red Sox in the Fall Classic, and that 85 team, of course, lost to Kansas City. This Cardinals team this year has a chance to win 100 games again. They have 94 going into today.
Well, I like to see the Reds make it tough on them to do that.
Yeah.
I win the next 2 ball games, and we wouldn't have to show you Cardinal leaderboards anymore.
Frazier starts it off here in the 2nd. Todd last night, a pair of hits, both singles. Six hits, a couple of home runs on this road trip. Painted a final, then Suarez here in the 2nd. The Reds with a loss last night will not win the season series against the Cardinals through 17. They've won 7, lost 10, but they can go to 9 and 10 if they can win tonight and tomorrow. And if they get that done, that means they will have won 3 consecutive series against St. Louis, and that is definitely progress against this Cardinal team. Billy having surgery on Friday to repair that right shoulder, the arthroscopic. Report is that he will be ready and raring to go before spring training.
You know, I always feel sorry for those guys that are injured at the very end of the season, and they have to spend the first few weeks of their off season that they've worked hard. I mean, Billy Hamilton, I'm sure, has worked hard all winter long, came into spring training. These guys put in a lot of hours, a lot of work. And now he's going to go under the knife here in the last week or so of the season and have to rehab in his off time. And that's a tough break.
Break for Pena there. That ball eluded the glove of Peralta and on into center field. And so Brian, who had been 0 for 4, including his pinch hit appearance last night, as a pinch hitter on this road trip, gets the base hit here with 1 out in the 2nd.
Welcome back, Brian.
You know, thinking back, when we were talking about Billy Hamilton, Chris, he ended last season unavailable to the club. Remember, he had that concussion and missed the end of the season. Here now is Suarez. That ball shot by Peralta into left center. Over to cut it off is Tommy Pham. Eugenio Suarez batted second last night, had a hit. Gets a hit here to start the night for him in this game, and he's now hitting 7 games in a row.
Well, it looks to me like the Reds' strategy is that they want to hit the fastball. Although that's a hanging slider right there off of Lackey. They're being aggressive early on. They know that Lackey throws a lot of early strikes. He's trying to get ahead of hitters. So instead of getting into a situation like Todd Frazier, where he got behind in the count 1-2, had to chase a pitch off the plate, they're up there hacking early.
As is Adam Duvall, who swings and misses. Fifth start of the road trip for Duvall, 4th out in left field. 3 home runs. He's driven in 6. Last night in the game was hitless in 3 at bats. Left the game as part of a double switch. Bruce's home run in the first gives the Reds a 1-0 lead, and now an opportunity here in the second. 2 on and 1 out.
You know, interesting stat on Lackey. You wouldn't characterize him as a ground ball pitcher because that ground ball percentage is less than 50%. But it's obvious that when he gets a runner on base and in a ground ball double play situation, that's when he starts pounding the bottom of the zone and he gets the ground balls at turn 2.
Broken bat, ball hit into right off the bat of Duvall. That'll move everybody up 90 feet. Over to third goes Pena, to second Suarez. 3 straight hits for the Reds.
Well, we've not seen Duvall do this. That is, stay on it enough to be able to get the ball the other way. He's been hacking at pitches that have been outside, but he's been pulling off of them. This way, at least he was going to be able to put it in play. And he gets a base hit out of it, so he's got to feel good. The Reds have 3 in the inning. Unfortunately, now they're down the number 9 spot in the order, and Kiva Sampson. Oops.
They'll get 1. They'll get another. First pitch swinging Sampson. Double play ball ends the inning.
some of the Reds representatives wearing what is a fine shirt that you can get on 108stitches.com. Here comes the bullpen here for Cincinnati. You can see the guys wearing it. Everyone in Major League Baseball was wearing these shirts today. And this was started by Jason Mott, a former teammate here in St. Louis with Skip Schumacher. Skip Schumacher is the Reds representative for this initiative, and I talked to him earlier about it.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to play with Jason Mott, and we're pretty close friends, and he asked me to be the Reds rep, and absolutely was going to do it. And the proceeds for buying a K for Cancer shirt go to the Jesse Reese Foundation, which is great and near and dear to my heart, so it worked out great.
And near and dear to his heart is fighting pediatric cancer, and part of the funds will go to that. And again, it's 108stitches.com. I purchased 2 of these shirts last season, and I got to tell you, as far as quality goes of shirts, they are very, very nice shirts, and there's no team logos on them, so you can get them in a multitude of colors. So we would invite you to help out.
I'm with you, Jim Day. Thank you very much. Matt Adams gets the at-bat here to start the bottom of the second. As I mentioned earlier, only the 3rd start that he has made since coming off the disabled list. Adams on the DL for a long time. The right quad strain. In fact, he missed 93 games this year with the quad injury.
Well, the quad strain has been a cardinal injury, a common cardinal injury this year. Matt Adams has missed so many games, as you said, and so has Matt Holliday. Holliday has only had 14 games since June the 8th when he injured that quad. Pinch hit a few times, but for the most part, they have missed their big left-handed and right-handed enforcer due to quad strains. That's a leg muscle, if you were wondering.
And here we are with less than 2 weeks to go in the regular season, and the Cardinals are legitimately wondering if Adams is going to be able to be the guy every day at first base during the postseason. 5 home runs on the year. He's driven in 22.
So really the Cardinals, it's kind of an interesting dynamic that they have going. Number one, they want to win because they want to make sure that they win the division. And then they can get their pitching set up and give their guys a rest and so on if they coast in the last couple of days. The other part of it is you have guys like Matt Adams really grinding it out here, because he wants to be on that postseason roster. In fact, he wants to be the starting first baseman. But the only way that's going to happen is if he shows Mike Matheny and company that he can do it on a day in and day out basis. I mean, then the same way you have for a guy like Randall Grichuk or Joe Piscotty. There are a lot of roster. Tommy Pham is another instance right there. There's a lot of players that are going for that 25-man roster spot right here. So this isn't kicking it into gear and coasting to the end of the year. These guys want postseason face time, and the only way you get that is be on that 25-man roster.
Scotty first pitch swinging, and Phillips is going to get near the foul line to make the catch of that ball. Scotty had a big blow in the bottom of the 8th last night that doubled the left center, which produced turned out to be the game-winning run for St. Louis. 1 on, 1 out now for Colton Wong. Wong at 264 overall. Had a much better first half than he is having in the second half. His second year as the everyday second baseman for the Cardinals. They bumped Carpenter from second to third to make room for Wong. Cardinals seeing this right-hander Sampson for the first time. He's made 10 appearances, 9 starts, but the first time he has faced St. Louis.
Brian Pena has a tendency to set up, when he sets up outside, his body is actually sometimes out of the strike zone. So if you're pitching to Pena, you've got to pitch to a part of his body. You can't let that left knee of his influence you, and you throw to that outside knee like he did right there and miss the plate. So, you know, it's not up to Pena to make the adjustment unless the pitcher wants him to do so. A lot of pitchers want guys moving back there. But if you're Kiva Sampson, you've got to not throw to this spot. You've got to throw to this spot right here. That's where the strike is.
As if on cue.
That's why it's important as a pitcher to pick a spot, a very small spot on the catcher, about the size of a quarter, on his catching glove or on his shin guard or somewhere else, and that's your aim. You're just not trying to go low and away. You've got to actually pick a very small spot, and that helps your control immensely. Colton Wong thought he had ball 4.
Combination hasn't worked together a lot this year.
Just a couple of times, right?
Yeah. That's going to fall for a base hit for Wong. He fought off that 3-2 pitch. Sends Adams down to second as the tying run, and Wong aboard with the second Cardinal hit.
Yeah, that's too bad right there, because that was a pretty good looking pitch by Sampson. And you know, Wong is a guy with a short swing, and that's why they're trying to pitch him down and away. And when he gets a 3-2, you got to throw a strike, so you come in there a little bit more, and he is able to get on top of that a little bit.
So Tony Cruz will bat now with 2 on and 1 out. Cruz last night a hit, 1 for 3. You noted that he took everything to right field last night. He will be the man behind the plate until the return of Yadier Molina. Same occurrence last year when he made 35 starts, most of those when Molina was out after undergoing right thumb surgery. Sampson falls behind. Lotto caught it, and they'll get the double play at second base on Matt Adams. Joey right in the way of that line drive by Tony Cruz. We are through 2. New York Mets this coming Saturday for as low as $12. Arrive early, be one of the first 25,000 fans. You'll receive a commemorative All-Star Game figurine presented by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/tickets. That's part of the upcoming and final homestand of the year for Cincinnati. 4 with the Mets. Then on the scheduled off day on the 28th, they have to go to Washington to play the Nationals because of that rainout back on the 8th of July. And they'll come back home and have the Cubs for 3 Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoon. And that will be that for the home schedule. Close things out at Pittsburgh with 3 games. Top of the order here in the 3rd. Bourgeois struck out his first time. Getting his 25th start in center field here tonight. You see Bruce waiting on deck. He made 27 starts in center for the Astros back in 2011. That's the most he's ever made in center field in his career, and certainly now with just under 2 weeks to go in the season and him being the main man out in center, and also with Ryan Lamar out with that hamstring injury, Bourgeois figures to start more games in center this year than he's ever done in his career at the age of 33. To right field. That one's going to get down for a hit. Hayward over to cut it off, and so Bourgeois extends his hitting streak now to 5 games. Here's Jay Bruce. We talked about the home runs that he's been hitting as of late. How about Sunday in Milwaukee? He hit 2 of them. The first one 457 feet. The second one a little bit longer, 459 feet. Both were upper deck shots at Miller Park. And how about tonight? 456 officially. We mentioned 457 earlier, but I think 456 still puts it as the longest home run here in Busch Stadium 3 by a left-handed hitter, a ballpark that opened in 2006. He can catch him, hit him a long way.
I'll tell you, that is some kind of strong. There's no doubt about that. There's never been that doubt about Jay Bruce. I mean, he hits them the way that Adam Dunn used to hit them. But really, they only at the end of the year, they don't ask you how far, they ask you how many. And he is, with a flurry, could close in on upwards of 30. They come in bunches, and we've seen that with Bruce a lot.
Well, he hit 18 last year in an injury-plagued season. He hit 34, a career high in 2012. He'd have to go on some sort of a home run binge to get to that mark. But as you say, he's now 5 away from 30. If he could get there, it would be the 4th time in his career he gets to 30 home runs in a season. This is 8th year in the big leagues. So 7 hits on the road trip, and 5 of them for Bruce have been home runs. Reds trying to slow the charge of this Cardinal Cub to the National League Central Division title. Cardinals were winning here last night. Both the Pirates and the Cubs won yesterday as well, but Cardinals lower their magic number to 9 going into today. 7 to eliminate the Cubs. Foul tip and hung on to by Tony Cruz. Cruz is out. Pittsburgh playing in Denver tonight at Colorado. They've taken an early 1-0 lead in that game. Cubs are playing at home against Milwaukee. They lead early in that game 2-0. Chris Bryant with his 26th home run of the year. Bryant closing in now on 100 RBIs. He has 97 of them as a rookie after missing the first 3 weeks of the season, or is that maybe a little too long? But anyway, he didn't start the year in the big leagues. Almost 3 weeks before he was called up. Votto limps around. I've heard you say many times you don't see this very often with Votto.
You know, there are two things that you rarely see with Joey Votto. One is a ball off his foot or shin, and I mean he hits the ball hard, and that was caught by his front shin right there, right below the knee. Man, that's got to really hurt. And the other thing you rarely, if ever, see is Joey Votto popping up a ball into the infield. I mean, it happens maybe once every 2 years. Remarkable. It was one of the best articles I've ever read about Joey Votto and his hitting. Appeared today on Fangraphs. An interview really that just only talked about hitting with Joey Votto and his dedication to using analytics and video and his preparation and how he has broken down his swing. It's really a remarkable article about a remarkable hitter. Well, right now Jerry Davis is giving out outside zones, so if you're a pitcher out there, you live down and out there, and if you're a hitter, be ready to swing, because that's not the first time he's called a pitch off the plate for a strike tonight in that same spot.
Lackey got the best of Votto his first time. He struck him out. Mentioned the fact that coming into this game, Votto had done a good job against Lackey, and here's what he's done so far in this final month of the season. .321. Seemingly every day. We mentioned the fact that since the All-Star break, Votto leads the big leagues in average, in on-base percentage, and in walks. .372 average since the break. Take strike 3 there. There's exactly what you're talking about. Pitch over the outer part of the plate. Jerry Davis is giving Lackey.
Well, we've already shown you his third pitch of the at-bat was off the plate for a ball. His fifth pitch is off the plate for a ball too. And I mean, other than frustration, what is Joey Votto to do?
So Phillips will jump in there. Bourgeois led off the inning with a single to right. He has stayed put as both Bruce and Votto have fanned, and now it's up to Phillips. Phillips grounded out to the shortstop his first time. 3-hit game for him last night, plus a run batted in. Shade him slightly to go toward right. That's how Pham is playing him. Deep out in left field is Piscotty. toward the middle of the diamond. Nice pitch by Wong. And a little flip on to Peralta. They get the force out at second base on Bourgeois, putting an end to the Reds' third. Take a look at Jerry Davis, Chris, and what he has done so far tonight behind the plate.
Well, you see where the umpire is lined up. He's lined up over the inside plate. So anytime you call a pitch that's out here, you're going to have a little bit of, estimation, because you don't see it. That inside pitch, he's right on that inside corner, and you barely miss ever. But sometimes if a pitcher's ever going to get a few inches outside, it's going to be on the outside pitch, and it's happened a couple of times tonight. Twice in one at-bat to Joey Votto, and once in another at-bat to Matt Carpenter. Back in the old days before they had the Fox box and all the pitch tracking technology that umpires get graded on, you used to see that all the time. And some pitchers would get more and more on the outer part of the plate. So you start working down there, and if the umpire is going to give you 2 inches, you're trying to get for 4 inches. And if you kept throwing it in that spot, he would keep calling it. So some umpires got the reputation for being a good low and away umpire or a good high ball umpire. The leagues varied. They always the theory was that the high pitch was a strike in the American League and the low pitch was a strike in the National League. A lot of that, of course, has gone away.
Wasn't it in the World Series where Greg Maddux had Eric Gregg behind the plate, and they kept expanding the strike zone, calling some incredible pitches way what appeared to be way outside. I don't remember what year that was or what game, but Carpenter took a call, third strike, to begin the Cardinal first inning here tonight. Hit yesterday and a hit in 8 of his last 10 games for Carpenter. Got off to a terrific start. Really went into a lull during the middle of the season. In fact, sat out a little bit of time due to fatigue. Has come back strong here in the last 6 weeks. Sampson goes full now on Carpenter. That's a fair ball into the corner, and actually it goes into the stands for a ground rule double. So Carpenter gets a third hit for the Cardinals. He's the tying run, double number 40 for him.
Now, Kipnis was hoping to get through an inning without having to go into that stretch position, and Carpenter lays into that one. Caught a little too much at the plate there.
Not a career high in terms of doubles for Carpenter. He is just one now behind Todd Frazier for the league lead. A couple of years ago, he had 55 doubles that led all of the big leagues. Tommy Pham grounded out to Phillips his first time. Carpenter the tying run out at second base. Sampson working on Tommy Pham. Does not get the call just off the plate there. Ball's behind now 3-1.
Pham is an interesting guy. He's been in the Cardinal minor league organization since he's been 18 years old. He is now 27 and finally gets his look at Major League Baseball.
Drills this ball into center field. That's going to go to the wall and tie the game. Carpenter will score. Pham keeps motoring around second and then thinks better of it. Goes back to the bag. RBI double for Pham. 17th RBI. Game is tied.
Well, he hit it very hard, Pham did. In fact, not only is the infield very slick here, the outfield is too. That ball is on a button. I mean, it is going all the way right past the center fielder. I mean, all Bourgeois had to do is just turn around and go to the wall. And Pham maybe pulls up a little bit here. They've got the trainer out. Mike Matheny's out watching him, and he hits that bag, and I don't know whether he hurt his foot.
Looked like he hit the bag a little funny, didn't it?
He's going down there and rubbing his right ankle, so that's. I mean, they were out there immediately.
They'd be wondering who in the heck they're going to put out there. I mean, they have Peter Borges, but
used to be you'd have to be bleeding before you got the trainer out of the dugout.
Like he stepped on it a little bit funny with his right foot.
What do you think some of the NFL players think when they watch these games? And a guy hits a bag like that, and they got to send a trainer out for him and everything like that. What do you think some of those mean linebackers are thinking?
Different sports, different things. This has been a problem not only in this game but in most of the starts that Sampson has made, and that he falls behind most hitters.
I don't mind this particular at bat though. Well, you know, I mean, you got Jason Hayward, you got a dangerous left-hander. You know, Sampson's stuff doesn't translate really that great against Hayward. So if you get behind, fine. You don't have to give him a cookie down the middle and let Hayward give the Cardinals a lead here. But that is a telling statistic right there. When you pitch behind in the count, you know, I'm not sure who's got a good batting average against in that situation. That's a good pitch. And you stay right down there again. You don't come into the plate anymore. You may even want to get it down a little bit more or more away. If he takes it for ball 4, you set up a double play ball to get out of the inning. But this is not a must hitter for Sampson.
It'll move the runner up. Votto to Sampson for the out. Pretty good job of coming back after being behind 3-0. They'll keep up with the pennant races, and we're talking about them as we move along tonight in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. College students enjoy a back-to-school offer with a 35% discount. Authentication required. Blackouts and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV today. Pham now the go-ahead run over third with 2 out for Johnny Peralta. Peralta flied to right. That was back in the first. Adams waits on deck. Sampson's over 50 pitches now at 53, trying to get the final out in the bottom of the third. Peralta, an all-star this year, had a terrific first half, average-wise and power-wise. He had 298 with 13 home runs, but those numbers have fallen off the table since the break. He's only hit 3 home runs since the All-Star break, and 229 since the Midsummer Classic in Cincinnati. That's a fair ball. Frazier got leather on it. Look at that play by Todd Frazier. A long throw from foul territory and a perfect strike to Votto puts an end to the bottom of the third. 1-1 game in the top of the fourth. Frazier will lead things off. This is what you talk about when you talk about flashing the leather right here.
I mean, I don't think Todd Frazier gets enough credit for his defense. I mean, that is a big-time play in a tough situation. You picked up your pitcher right there. Who knows how many runs the Cardinals go on to score if Frazier doesn't make that backhanded play. The guy's I mean, he can pick it. And how many times do you see it? Every time. Guy makes a great play, leads the inning off.
That's the way this game works. Frazier, Pena, Suarez here in the fourth. Into the hole. Peralta with a long throw and safe the ball. Frazier beats that one out. Peralta, unlike Frazier, was not able to get himself set and fire across the infield. He had to do it on the run. Momentum carrying him the other way.
But how ironic would that have been? Because it was Peralta that Frazier threw out at first base. And he nearly gave him a little of his own medicine.
Sixth hit now by the Reds. They've had a hit in every inning. Get the leadoff man on for the second straight frame.
Six hits, 1 run, came on a homer. Go figure. Of course, they had 3 in 1 inning and had the pitcher come up and ground into a double play on the first pitch he saw.
And let's see what Pena can do here to move Frazier along. Base hit into center his first time. Frazier going. Pena hit that ball hard and a long way, but foul down the right field line.
That would have been Pena's first home run of the year.
He's got a long stretch without a home run right after the All-Star break last year at Yankee Stadium.
And it's really obvious the way his batting style has evolved that Brian Pena is if he hits a home run, it's almost a mistake. And it's probably going to go right down that right field line or left field line if he's batting right-handed. Because with his hands separated like that, you make more contact. You don't roll over on pitches as much, but you don't have the kind of bat speed that most players have when they need to hit the ball home run distance. And he also doesn't seem to swing as hard. I mean, it's more of a smooth, guiding type of a swing for Pena.
Came over the Reds a couple of years ago from the Tigers and signed him as a free agent. Been a good addition to this team. He's a free agent after this year, so the question has posed, will he or will he not be back with the Reds in 2016? Only the Reds baseball ops people know for sure.
You know, Lackey's kind of an interesting pitcher in as much as for as long as he's been around, and he's been around a long time. In fact, he's been the winning pitcher in 2 World Series clinching games. Once for the Anaheim Angels in 2002, and then once again, of course, with the Boston Red Sox. But for all the years that he's pitched and all the wins that he's accumulated, he's never really thrown a changeup. His changeup is more, if he throws 100 pitches in a game, he may throw 3 changeups. So it's all fastball and breaking pitch for Lackey.
In the air for Piscotty out in left field. That is out number 1.
And I say that because sometimes you see these pitchers that are being recalled up out of the minor leagues, and you ask them what they throw, and they tell you, well, I got 2 kinds of fastballs. I got a curveball, a slider, a splitter, a changeup, and sometimes I just cut the ball too. And the question is, well, how many of those can you throw for strikes to a really good hitter in a tough situation when you're behind the count?
List narrows, I bet.
164 wins and only 126 in losses. That's a nice career.
Suarez, solid contact and a base hit into left center his first time. So now hitting 7 in a row. He'll attempt tomorrow to equal his longest hitting streak of the year, which is 8. Now had a hit in 13 of his last 15 games. He's been very consistent for the most part since taking over at shortstop in early June. There's 1. There's 2. The inning-ending double play. Second turn by the Cardinals in this game.
Day. Let's take you back to this date in 1996. It was a monumental day for Cincinnati's own Barry Larkin, because on this day he became the first shortstop in Major League history to join the 30-30 club. 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. In the long history of the game, no shortstop had done it before Barry Larkin did it. Now he's got some other guys on that list, including Alex Rodriguez, who did it in '98, Jimmy Rollins in 2007, and Hanley Ramirez in 2008. Those are your 30-30 shortstops in MLB history.
Barry Larkin, of course, working in the Reds organization now with some of the players in the minor leagues. Look at Sampson getting over there, and Frazier makes the catch and then flips over the rail. Sampson almost got in the way of Frazier. Good save, Jim Day. Boy, you talk about terrific defensive plays. 2 straight batters. Here comes Jim.
Boy, what a play by Frazier right there with Sampson close by to look. He's holding the legs. Here comes Jim Day, just getting there in time, just soon enough so he can pick his pocket.
Look at Todd holding that ball up. I mean, you talk about 2 fantastic defensive plays on back-to-back batters. Down the line at third in the long throw, and then that effort over near the dugout. We were talking to somebody last night who said Todd Frazier is a gamer. I don't think there's any question about that.
I think a lot of people would say that. I just want to know from Jim Day, did you get his cell phone or his wallet while he was leaning over there?
I actually had my cell phone in my hand and the microphone, so I think he might have got a microphone in his back.
Been a good time for an interview.
Well, you never know. You know, I have a commercial where I wake up with my microphone, so always got to have it. There you go. Wow, see, digging that microphone right at his back. But I guess that's a little better than tumbling over onto the concrete in this camera well.
That's good teamwork down there by all of you guys. What's Frazier going to do here against Stephen Piscotty? Going to leap up and snare a line drive headed for the left field corner.
Well, if there's anybody that would be willing to buy Todd Frazier a steak dinner for his defense tonight, it would be the guy on the mound, Akiva Sampson. He saved him a couple of times, and that out from Adams is one thing, but the play that he made on Peralta to end the inning with a runner at second base last inning, that was huge.
Let's see if Votto can duplicate this. Not a play. And they showed a shot on the big screen earlier of one of your former teammates, right? Willie McGee?
Willie McGee, he was a teammate of mine in the minor leagues with the New York Yankees. Of course, he made fame here in St. Louis when he won the MVP in 1985.
Bruce right on the line. They'll technically call that a foul ball. Piscotty is out. 2 down.
You know, I'm wondering if maybe Akiva Sampson watching John Lamb last night, and Lamb pitched a whale of a game last night, and he really deserved to get the win. Unfortunately, didn't get it. But I wonder if, though, if Sampson watching him may have given a little confidence to himself, saying, you know, if Lamb can do it, I can do it. I'm watching these hitters. This is what he's doing. I'm going to stick with my game plan, but at the same time, I'm going to learn something tonight, and also maybe feel a little confidence that I can join another rookie in shutting down the Cardinals.
Phillips. And out at first, and that's the first 1, 2, 3 inning of the game for Akiva Sampson. But that play by Frazier certainly with another look. Is taking on a new twist when the Reds return to Great American Ballpark on Thursday. The home run target is getting a whole lot bigger. Instead of a Reds player having to hit the Toyota hit and win sign, the first Reds player to hit a home run into the sun/moon deck seats only will win a new Tundra for a fan chosen for that game. Make sure you get involved. Register now at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Chances just got a whole lot better to make someone a new Toyota Tundra owner. starts Thursday night against the Mets in the beginning of a 4-game series. One lucky fan each game until it happens. Adam Duvall starts the 5th. Broken bat single to right his first time. Ball's behind here, 2-0. Pardon me, 0-2. First start of the year for John Lackey, marking the 8th time in his career that he's hit 30 starts or more in a season, kind of a benchmark. This is talking about 200 innings. Started the day at 200 innings, marking the 6th time in his career that he's hit 200, and 2 other times he just missed getting to the 200 plateau. On a current stretch, he has gone 18 straight starts, which he has gone 6 innings or more. That's another hit for Duvall, and this one comes after being in the hole, 0-2, and there he is going to right field for the 2nd straight time.
Well, he was telling me a little bit before the ball game about trying to go to right field, and we haven't seen that much of Adam Duvall hitting the ball opposite field. Most everything he's hit, especially home run balls and doubles, have been to left field. And I said, "Do you do that a lot?" He said, "Yeah, when I'm right, I'm hitting it to right field and all fields." But, you know, he's made an adjustment, obviously. He's picked up a couple of base hits going the other way tonight.
Sampson trying to bunt the runner along.
Little jab at it. You know, the single biggest mistake that people who are trying to sacrifice do, and it goes for everyday players and pitchers, is that they drop the angle of the bat. Your hands around the barrel should always be higher than your hand around the knob. So you create that angle right there, you should keep it. But as soon as you drop that bat head and you try to jab at the ball, you're guaranteeing yourself one of 2 things. You're going to jab and miss, or you're going to jab and pop it up.
Bunting by his pitchers is one thing that Brian Price talked about today in his media scrum. Getting these guys next spring to really work harder and better at getting the bunt down.
Well, how much more could they work? You saw the setup they had in spring training down there.
He strikes out on a foul bunt.
I mean, really?
I mean,
they had a pitching machine and a cage in the same spot the entire spring training, from the time the pitchers got there to run laps in February until the team finally broke camp in April. There were guys on it every day. I mean, they must have bunted 100 balls a day, these guys. And it's a mindset. I mean, practice is one thing, but it's a mindset. You're going to tell yourself, you're going to get up there and you're going to do it. And when you're a pitcher in a 1-run ball game like this, and you fail to get the run down, that may be the difference between getting a win and not getting a win.
Well, how are you as a bunter?
Pretty good. Really good.
Really?
I can bunt right now.
Not putt, bunt.
I can't bunt. I have to admit that. I mean, really, if you have the right mechanics, and if you feel comfortable in getting your face near the baseball, and that's the biggest thing. You've got to get right down there and get close to the impact of where that ball hits the bat. I'm not getting on Keeper Sampson with this. I mean, it's not that easy, but usually in the at bat, you're going to get a pitch that a pitcher is going to allow you to lay down, and don't miss that pitch. And there were certain pitchers that were notorious for giving you one chance. And if that didn't work, you were not going to get a bunt down. And one of them was Tom Seaver. I remember I fouled the first pitch back, and he said, "That's it, kid. You're going down." And he said that to me as he came off the mound to get a new baseball.
And did you?
I'm like, well, what does that mean?
That sounded like a broken bat into the hole, and the Cardinals won't get anything. Bourgeois gets the base hit, his second of the night. We saw a broken bat single to right by Duvall earlier, and now a broken bat infield single by Bourgeois.
Now, this is the kind of luck that John Lackey has had against the Reds in his starts. You know, they haven't scored him very many runs. The Reds have been able to win every game that he has pitched against them this year, despite the fact that he's pitched 3 times since the All-Star break against the Reds, and his average earned run average in those games is around 2.5. Well, what a time for home run number 26 here.
Bruce Singing, 83 runs batted in. Keeps a good eye on that ball and gets the call on each of those first 2 pitches at 2-0. Who are you arguing with?
Just trying to get the numbers right. Well, Lackey taking a long time right here to try finally to get on the same page as Tony Cruz. He's got to figure this is the most important pitch or the most important at bat of the game so far for him.
Hard to first. Adams, Peralta, Lackey. Wow.
3 on the night. Can you believe that?
To be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins October the 8th on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Now, Kivas Sampson, 4 innings, 1 run, 4 hits allowed. He's walked 1, struck out 1. A bit reminiscent, really, of the start he made at home against the Pirates back on the 9th. Almost 2 weeks ago, and through 5 against the Pirates, he was very, very good. Let's see if he can keep it going into the 5th here tonight. The Reds have had some opportunities go by the wayside because of double play balls. One hit by Sampson with the bases loaded in the second. One hit two by Suarez in the fourth, and then that one by Bruce. Jay hit it hard, but unfortunately right at Matt Adams at first. Frazier makes the routine play as well as he throws out Cruz.
Well, don't look now, but Kiva Sampson is just beginning to cruise along a little bit. 6 in a row retired after giving up back-to-back doubles in the third inning. This is a little bit more, I think, that the Reds expected to see from Sampson when they brought him up to the major leagues and gave him an opportunity to have several starts. Got to remember, Sampson is still only 25 years old, even though he's been in the minor leagues with the Padres for a long time. Signed out of high school. Still a young man with a lot of upside.
Lackey won't chase. It's 2-2. Cubs have increased that lead to 3-0 now at home over Milwaukee. Chris Bryant, by the way, with that home run, his 26th of the year, sets a new Cubs rookie franchise record for home runs. All right, it's time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo our way. Use hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan. This might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast, all brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's see him. Data Strong fan photo of the game. Two out for Matt Carpenter. Red scored first. Second batter of the game, a home run by Jay Bruce, 456 feet, way up there in right field, the longest home run hit in this ballpark by a left-hander. Cardinals tied it in the third. Back-to-back doubles by Carpenter and Pham. Kivas Sampson is now set down 7 in a row. Looks for a second straight 1-2-3 inning. Pham on deck. 75. 76 pitches now by Sampson. Toward Phillips. And the inning is over. 2 straight innings of perfect baseball for Sampson, and now 8 in a row. by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Meyer, find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on U.S. News and World Report's Best Children's Hospital. Hey, we want to pass along a big happy birthday wish tonight to Ernest Yinger, Jackson, Ohio. Ernest celebrating his 93rd birthday today. A big tip of the Reds cap. And a happy birthday wish from the Reds. All of us here at Fox Sports Ohio. Try to get you a win here tonight, Ernest. Votto leads it off here in inning number 6. Joey has struck out twice in this game and twice last night. So in his last 5 plate appearances, 4 strikeouts and a walk. That's a rarity.
Well, he faces a couple of pretty good pitchers in back-to-back nights. I mean, Jaime Garcia, a very difficult left-hander, and John Lackey is having one of his best seasons ever. Lowest earned run average at this point in the year that he's ever had.
Doing it at 36 years old.
See, there's the pitch on the inside corner that, because the umpire is right on that inside line, there's no give and take. No wiggle room on the inside, only on the outside. This is when Votto, takes this time to try to get his mind right, to get readjusted. And that's why that timeout was so important to him, that was not eventually granted to him by Bill Welke. And he got more than just a little bit upset. In the article that they wrote about Joey Votto, he talked about his reason for choking up. And it's not only when you have 2 strikes on you, it's actually when he wants to make sure that he can get the bat head on the ball. So if a pitcher's going to pitch him inside and he can choke up 4 inches, that means the sweet spot of the bat is 4 inches closer to the inside corner, like there.
Long will throw him out. First out, 6th inning.
I mean, it's kind of a simple formula, but you just wonder why not everybody does that, or at least say 50% of the players up there do that. I mean, do guys like, how many times do we see Joey Votto get jammed and the bat head go flying all over the infield?
We don't.
But a couple of times a game you see, toothpicks flying everywhere.
Well, Votto now with 2 strikeouts and a ground out 0 for 3. We'll get into the latter stages of the game when he comes up there again, barring a big inning, and he is still not reached base. His on-base streak of 38 straight games in jeopardy a little bit. Phillips 0 for 2 after a 3-hit night last night. Brandon strikes out. Lackey gave him a steady diet of breaking balls, and Phillips becomes the 6th strikeout victim for the Cardinal right-hander. Well, tomorrow on a brand new edition of Reds Weekly, Raisel Iglesias talks about his move to America, his baseball idols, and the keys to his success this season. Plus, Paul O'Neill reacts to his Reds bobblehead that was given out at the Reds Hall of Fame. Don't miss an all-new Reds Weekly hosted by Jeff Pecoro and Doug Flynn. That's tomorrow night at 6, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Produced by Ron Melanor. There's Iglesias. Question is, will he pitch again this year? I think the answer probably is going to be yes.
Well, we certainly hope so, but at the same time, we want that young man to make sure that his arm is 100%. Because he has got some kind of future ahead of him.
Now, of course, Iglesias is not in the Reds rotation. We get our second look at Brandon Finnegan here tomorrow night. And against the Mets, Josh Smith, Anthony DeSclafani, John Lamb, and then Kivas Sampson again is in the rotation. Tonight, by the way, the 52nd straight start by a rookie for the Reds, an all-time major league record. 98th straight start, 98th start overall, I should say, by Reds rookies. Reds franchise record. The all-time major league record in terms of starts by a rookie in a year. Florida Marlins, before they changed their name back in 1998, the Florida Marlins made 123 starts by a rookie. Line drive, and it's caught by Lackey. Good reaction by the Cardinal pitcher. The Reds go in order here in the 6th.
Would hit the mound again. I asked manager Brian Price that very question.
If he can get out from where the fatigue and the range of motion issues are no longer a problem, then I'd like to get him back on the mound before the year is out, just to satisfy those questions. But it's not paramount. I don't think his injury is anything that's going to be deter him at all from 2016.
And guys, I went on to ask him if he does return to the mound, would it be out of the bullpen? And he said not necessarily. He thinks there's a lot of benefit to going through the pregame routine that a starter goes through that gets him used to pitching, even if it's just a 3-inning start. So if he does pitch again in 2015, it will be as a start, most likely.
The last time we saw Rysell on the mound was at home against these Cardinals back on the 13th of September when he went 5, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits in that game. So we hope we get a chance to see him again. Meanwhile, the man we're seeing here tonight, Davis Sampson, on a bit of a roll right now. 8 in a row he's retired. He's allowed 1 run, 4 hits. Works on Tommy Pham to get the bottom of the 6th going. This is when he ran into trouble his last time, 2 starts ago against Pittsburgh. He's going to get an out to begin the bottom of the 6th on a fly ball to right. And that is 9 in a row now by Sampson.
Well, if you believe that you can make the pitches, and then you go out and you make the pitches, you even more believe that you can make pitches. And that's the kind of role that you want to get on, where you're kind of in the zone.
Sam LeCure, the right-hander. Tony Cingrani, the left-hander. Starting to heat up in the bullpen. Sampson at 83 pitches.
Well, Brian Price is trying to win this ball game, and I don't think it really is a pitch count situation yet for Sampson. But I'm not so sure at this point in the game, now that you're in the 6th inning, that his leash will be very long. You're in the middle of the order with 2 lefties and a righty. The next 3 hitters due up.
Hayward has a hit and he's grounded out. He's 1 for 2 tonight.
Boy,
3-0 to 3-2.
Yeah, he's been dotting that outside corner all night long, and that's a space to live right now with Jerry Davis back there calling the black.
It is ball 4, so that ends the streak of 9 in a row by Sampson. He walks his 2nd, but still he's been very good tonight. Big double play turned behind him in the 2nd inning on the line drive. They got the out at second base. That was hit by Cruz. That was 2 on with 1 out. Big bailout on the liner. He goes back to the stretch for the first time since the 3rd inning, dealing with Johnny Peralta. Peralta, who hit that ball down the 3rd, Frazier made such a tremendous play on. And that was a big out with a go-ahead run at 3rd base and 2 men down in the inning. Former Indian, former Tiger shortstop.
You know, you look at Johnny Peralta in the batter's box and how he sets up, and I know that they have advanced metrics and they've got all sorts of scouting video, but if you're just sitting at home wondering, how do you pitch a guy like this? Because Peralta is every year a 270 hitter. He hits anywhere from 16 to 19 home runs. He's going to drive in, 70 runs a year, and he's given the Cardinals just about that. But for me, the way he sets up, he's telling me that he's fishing for something down. Everything is high when he gets his arms up there, his bat is up. I mean, he's just waiting to drop that bat head. There and now there.
Runner going. And an easy steal for Jason Hayward, his 23rd of the year.
Well, he stole that on Sampson. I mean, in a 1-1 ball game, you really got to take it upon yourself as a pitcher to shorten up his lead or quicken your move to home. You can't be beaten by a stolen base and a bloop.
Career high for Hayward in stolen bases this year. He stole last year with his Cardinal club, 20. That's now 23 with 2 weeks to go. Fell behind Hayward 3-0. Falls behind Peralta 3-0. And now he walks back-to-back hitters here in the 6th inning. And 94 pitches thrown now by Sampson. Ryan Price out of the dugout. Cardinals have the lefty Matt Adams up, and Brian has signaled to the bullpen. That's going to be all for Kivas Sampson here in the 6th inning. He'll go 5 1/3. He's allowed 1 run thus far. The runners on are his. And the Reds make the pitching change just as our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. The Mets and enjoy a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by Adams Recovery Center. Purchase your tickets today by calling 513-381-REDS, visiting select Kroger locations, or going to reds.com/tickets. Let's make the change. Sampson out, Tony Cingrani in. Left-hander Adams now, then Piscotty, and another left-hander in Wong after that.
Yeah, pretty nice job by Sampson, although he leaves a couple of runners on base, and it could go upside down for him depending on how the bullpen goes. And right now that bullpen is Tony Cingrani. You may be looking a little bit into the future right here, into 2016 and beyond, when you bring Cingrani out of the bullpen in this situation. Left-handed hitter was scheduled, Matt Adams, and Randall Grichuk will be the pinch hitter. But this is where they want Cingrani to excel.
Grichuk hitting .280 on the year with 16 home runs. 3 for 13 as a pinch hitter. Started in left field last night, was 0 for 3. Last time we saw Cingrani, he came on in relief in the 5th inning of Josh Smith Saturday in Milwaukee, and unfortunately for he and the Reds, gave up that big 2-run homer to Domingo Santana, a right-handed hitter. flat out to right to start the inning. That was against Sampson. And then Kivas walked Hayward and Peralta back to back. Now Cingrani in to face the pinch hitter Grichuk. Frazier going to get the only play he has at first base. The runners will move up, and so the Cardinals will have an opportunity. Piscotty walked into the plate, second and third, 2 out. They'll walk Piscotty and bring up Colton Wong, so it'll be a lefty-lefty matchup with the bases loaded, 2 men out. Look at the breakdown on Tony Cingrani this year. Right-handers have hit .214 against him. Left-handers have hit .263 against him. So not the ideal kind of split that you're looking for. Now Wong will come up there with the bases loaded and 2 out. Wong 0 for 5 lifetime against Cingrani. Big chance here for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 6th. Big opportunity for Cingrani and the Reds to keep this a 1-1 game. Now the pressure really shifts to Cingrani. Swinging at 2-0.
Wow.
And maybe a play for Pena. Too far out. And into the stands it goes. A break that would have been. Cingrani got behind 2-0. Gets 2 foul balls. He's now at 2-2. Pitcher spot, by the way, for the Reds is due a 4th in the 7th. Ventura stayed up in the Reds bullpen. Toward right, Bruce charging. Jay will get there. Nice job, Tony Cingrani. Cardinals get 3 on via the walk, leave them all. We're still 1-1 through 6. this ballpark by a left-handed batter that came in the top of the first. Cardinals answered with their run in the bottom of the third. Double by Carpenter. This double by Tommy Pham ties it. Reds have kept it that way with some terrific defense by Todd Frazier. This one against Johnny Peralta that ended the bottom of the third, and then this grab off the foul ball by Matt Adams that started the fourth. With help from our good friend Jim Day down below, Frazier did not flip over the rail. That's today's Honda game summary through 6. Reds and the Cardinals even. See, the Reds have doubled up the Cardinal hit total thus far. Brian Pena leads it off against John Lackey here in inning number 7. So Lackey has gotten through 6 again, making 19 straight starts. And he has gone at least 6 innings. Mark Reynolds now takes over at first for Matt Adams, who was lifted for the pinch hitter Grichuk. Kivas Sampson has to be pretty happy about this outing. 1 run, 4 hits, 5 1/3. He walked 3, but 2 of those came in that last inning. Struck out a batter through 94 pitches. Quite a difference from what we saw last time out.
Well, I'm sure that he feels like he's had it in him the whole time and was just able to put it together tonight. Nice young man, works hard, happy to be here. Glad to see it working for him.
Pena gets ahead 3-1 to start the 7th. Suarez on deck, then Duvall. Anybody gets on the pitcher spot. Full count.
Lackey wanted that swing and miss right there, ends up getting a foul tip, and the bat stays alive. Lackey got a huge pay cut from last year. Last year, at the end of a long-term contract that he played, signed with the Boston Red Sox, he was making $16 million. They cut him $15,500,000.
Off his body and no play.
Wow, Brian Pena with an infield hit with that hamstring.
And how about 2 consecutive balls, one by Frazier, this one by Pena, right back to the mound, and Lackey caught the first one. This one caught him.
Well, he got the first one in the glove. It looked like they may have gone off the heel of the glove. Ball comes back at you so fast, especially when you're powering off the mound in one direction, and that ball's coming back harder than you threw it.
Now, Michael Lorenzen is going to run at first base for Brian Pena. I don't think he hurt himself again, but
no, you just need some speed over there.
Well,
you've gotten out of Pena what you wanted to get out of him tonight.
Mentioned, though, with the hamstring injury and him sprinting down there, that's a pretty good sign that he's okay. Pena has 8. How about that? 8 infield hits this year. He's looking for the pinch runner.
Speed is a dangerous thing. I mean, when you talk about infield hits, I thought I had written it down. Billy, he's gaining on Billy Hamilton, who has 27.
So Lorenzen, the pinch runner. At first for Pena with the leadoff infield hit. Suarez wants to bunt him along, and he'll get it done. Nice job by Eugenio Suarez. Giving the Reds now 2 chances with a runner in scoring position here in the 7th. Adam Duvall twice has gone toward right field against Lackey.
So Lackey last year in the contract at the end of the contract, it came over at the very trade deadline, Lackey did, from the Red Sox, and with it the contract. So they paid him the remainder of that, about $16 million that they owed him. But this year, the club took advantage of a clause that was put in that long-term contract when he was with the Red Sox, that if he missed significant amount of time due to an elbow injury, he would play his last year of the contract for the league minimum. And that's what he's doing this year. He hasn't backed away from it. The Cardinals haven't backed away from it. And there's a lot of speculation, of course, around St. Louis as to whether they would offer Lackey an extension after this season.
He missed the 12 year with Tommy John, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He is 36 years old and the best bargain in baseball right now.
He gets ahead of Duvall. Now 2 strikes. Tucker Barnhart, who will take over behind the plate, it appears, is the man on deck to hit for Tony Cingrani.
Well, what a veteran move by Lackey. You know, you get a runner at second base. It's a 1-1 ball game, and he pumps first 2 strikes in on the hitter. All of a sudden now gets Duvall in the defensive position.
And he chases one in the dirt. They need to throw to first and do to complete the strikeout. Tucker Barnhart will bat for Cingrani.
You know, it's kind of interesting because the Cardinals, in their quest to get a win, are not shy about using their bench. They had Matt Adams up there scheduled to face Tony Cingrani. Cingrani comes out of the bullpen to face the left-hander. And there are some left-handers on the bench available to the Reds. If you wanted to pinch hit in that case for Adam Duvall. Too late to say it now because we didn't talk along with the at-bat, but there's some left-handers like Brennan Bosch, for instance, on the bench the Reds could have used.
Well, Barnhart is up there now. And of course we could throw in the Major League's leader in pinch hits this year, and Skip Schumacher.
Absolutely, yeah.
LeCure throwing in the bullpen. That ends the inning. Broken bat, soft liner to the shortstop. Reds threaten but fail in the 7th. Stretch time in Busch. We're tied at 1.
That's on Fox Sports Ohio. It's Reds Live, the pregame edition. It is brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. I'm Jim Day. New pitcher on the mound, and he missed it by just one night. We're talking about Sam LeCure. He's from Centertown, Missouri, a few hours away, and last night he had 22 family members at Busch Stadium, but unfortunately Sam did not get into the game for them to see him pitch. He is the youngest of 8. He has 18 nieces and nephews, and Missouri is his old stomping ground. And unfortunately, again, family didn't get to see, but if they're watching tonight, we send you a hello from Reds Country as Sam LeCure hits the hill.
Now that's a lot of names to remember, nieces and nephews, 18 of them.
It's a lot of birthdays to remember.
A lot of gifts to buy.
Now, he's been in his ball game this year for the Reds now his 14th time, and that is exactly how many games he's pitched at Busch Stadium before coming in tonight. He's pitched pretty well here over the years against the Cardinals.
Tucker Barnhart takes over behind the plate for Brian Pena after pinch hitting. He stays in the game. Tony Cruz leads off here in the bottom of the 7th of a 1-1 game. We had a one-run game last night, the final 2-1. The Cardinals we talked about last night, right near the top in the big leagues with one-run games. They're 32 and 22 in one-run games this year after that win last night. Mike Matheny's club wins the tight ones. They're looking for their 95th win. 54 one-run games along with the White Sox and the Rays, the most in the big leagues this year.
You know where you win one-run games? A little bit of luck, obviously, but the other area is bullpen. It's the same reason you can win on the road is if you have a bullpen, it can shorten the game.
Cardinal bullpen came into this series tops in the National League. LeCure has pitched once in each stop on this trip. Worked out in San Francisco, and the Reds win out there on Tuesday in the 9-8 game. And then worked in the 5-3 Reds win against Milwaukee on the 18th. That was Saturday. Pardon me, that was Friday. Along a run in 1/3 of an inning. Suarez can't quite get to it. Cardinals put the leadoff man on.
Well, he hits it hard, but it's got some overspin. For a moment there, it looks like Suarez is going to be able to grab it. And it looks like, well, with the catcher running, if you knock that ball down, you've got a chance to throw him out.
Now Greg Garcia will bat for John Lackey, so the Cardinals will employ a new pitcher come the top of the 8th.
You mean he will bunt for Lackey? At least that's what the Reds are figuring on right now. I guess not.
Talked about our guy, Skip Schumacher, leading the league in pinch hits. Greg Garcia tops the National League pinch hitters via average, over 400. Cardinals starter John Lackey, 7 innings, 1 run, 9 hits. Walked no one, struck out 7. Well, he really has been pitching well. It's his 6th consecutive quality start. and his 18th in his last 19 games this year for Lackey. Kevin Segrist ready in the Cardinal bullpen. Strike 3.
Garcia can't believe it. He had 2 pitches on the inner part of the plate that he was certain that were balls that were called strikes. Pinch hitter that is hitting 400 never got the bat off his shoulder. Our box track shows perfect pitches by Sam.
So hit by Cruz. Strikeout looking at the pinch hitter Garcia. Top of the order now. And Matt Carpenter, who's 1 for 3, scored the only Cardinal run back in the 3rd. Two and one. Tommy Pham, who drove in Carpenter back in the 3rd, waits on deck. Sampson 5 1/3 for the Reds. Tony Cingrani 2/3 of an inning. Got out of that jam in the bottom of the 6th. But you're trying to work around the leadoff Cardinal hit. Now he's in danger of putting Carpenter on and moving the go-ahead run into scoring position. Rattles the mash there of Barnhart. Despite having been around a little bit, Tony Cingrani is still relatively young. He and the young left-hander John Lamb talk things over there in the Reds dugout. Cingrani is 26. Lamb is 25. Lamb from California. Cingrani from Chicago. Carpenter, a very good 2-strike hitter. Cruz on the run, and there's another one on a 3-2 pitch into right. And with Cruz moving, it's 1st and 3rd with 1 out.
Just an exceptional baseball player is Matt Carpenter. Sam LeCure comes inside with what looks like is a very good pitch. I mean, in off the plate, and Carpenter brings his hands in, shortens that stroke, and gets it enough to get it into right field in safe territory, and Cardinals are on the corners.
Reds look into the dugout to see how they want to play this as Tommy Pham walks to the plate. And it was the 8th inning last night when the Cardinals rose up, scored twice. And they are now in the 7th inning, trying to take the lead for the first time in this game. Pham is 1 for 3. One at bat lifetime against LeCure, and that was a 2-run homer. That came in the game last Sunday, a week ago Sunday, when the Reds were home against the Cardinals, the final day before his current road trip began. His 2-run homer in the 6th inning broke a 2-2 tie. Gave the Cardinals a 4-2 lead. They went on to win that game 9-2. Jason Hayward, left-hander on deck. Wondering about the Reds bullpen. It is quiet. In the air by Pham. This is going to give the Cardinals the lead as Bourgeois will make the catch. Both runners tag. Scoring from third is Cruz. Carpenter stops halfway to second, retreats to first. Pham in 2 career plate appearances has 3 RBIs against Sam LeCure. The Cardinals lead 2-1 here in the 7th. Pham has driven in both Cardinal runs tonight. And that'll be Jason Hayward. I don't think Sam saw Carpenter over there with that lead. Kind of jumped out, didn't he?
Well, Carpenter, it looked like he was about halfway to second base and decided to go back to first. The way he danced off the bag last time necessitated a little throw over this time.
Hayward been on twice tonight. A first inning walk, a first inning hit, 6th inning walk. Barnhart and LeCure for the second time will get together. Cardinals have taken their 2-1 lead, and it's not like the Reds haven't had their chances. They had them loaded in the 2nd with 1 out, and Sampson, first pitch swinging, bounce into a double play as Pedro Villarreal gets up, starts to throw.
Well, we hardly ever see Pedro late in the ball game.
Reds had 2 on, 1 out in the 5th, and Bruce hit it hard, but ultimately into a double play. They had a runner at second with 1 out in the 7th. Duvall struck out. Barnhart pinch hitting, hit a soft liner out. Phillips to his right, dives, gets it, flips it on to Suarez. And the Reds get the force out at second base on Carpenter. And the Cardinals settle for one in the bottom of the seventh. Had a terrific night defensively. I'll ask him to do something offensively if it comes around to him in this inning, or if not, in the ninth inning. Kevin Segrist, guy wasn't drafted very highly at all. Chris has been a stalwart of the Cardinal pen.
Well, you know, they do lean on their relievers. There's no question about it. The Cardinals do. Segrist 75 games now, and he is a tough left-hander, and he is in there for a reason. Because after Jason Bourgeois, you have back-to-back lefties in Bruce and Votto.
Well, Bourgeois has a couple of hits tonight. Let's see if he can get on to start the eighth. Reds down now 2-1. Carpenter guarding the line at third, as we saw him do last night in the ninth inning with Rosenthal at the on the mound. Bourgeois down on strikes. 8th strikeout by Cardinal pitching tonight.
Kevin Segrist, you would think, being a left-handed specialist, would specialize in getting lefties out. This year it's been exactly the opposite. He's given up more runs batted into right-handers or to left-handers and right-handers. But I got to figure, if you're Jay Bruce or Joey Votto, you know when you come into St. Louis, you will be seeing this left-hander at least once or more in a 3-game series. Now he gets ahead of Bruce 0-2, and he's seen nothing but a couple of fastballs. His changeup is his second favorite pitch. His slider comes after that. There's the slider. It's a little different slider than Segrist broke in with a couple of years ago. He had a lot of tilt on that slider. Now it looks really flat.
Bruce trying to gain the measure of Segrist here. Stays alive. All the numbers for Bruce against Segrist: 2 for 12. Votto waiting on deck. He's 0 for 9 against this southpaw. And he gets Bruce. One looking, one swinging, 2 out here in the 8th.
Well, that's one thing that Kevin Segrist can do that a lot of situational left-handers can't, which is rear back and throw 95. And after missing with a couple of breaking balls, he just said, here it is.
So now here's Votto. 0 for 9 lifetime with 5 strikeouts against Segrist. And 0 for 3 tonight. His on-base streak at 38 on the line as he bats here.
Kind of interesting here. Well, watch Votto in his at-bats and when he chokes up and when he doesn't choke up. That first pitch, he did not choke up hardly at all, and he's down there on the knob right now. He might be looking breaking ball right here off Segrist. Or he thinks that Segrist is not going to challenge him inside early in the at-bat. That was the pitch that Votto was looking for in the first 2. He didn't get, and he gets it on a 2-0 count.
Kirk Badenhop now has joined Villarreal in the bullpen. Votto requests and is granted time by Jerry Davis. That fastball again we saw with Bruce. We see it here with Votto. Phillips on deck. Should Votto keep this 8th inning going? Boy, that was close, and it's called ball 4. Votto draws the walk, and so the on-base streak continues now at 39. And Segrist wanted a call that he did not get.
Now you can tell by the body language out there, Kevin Segrist thought that was a strike. Tony Cruz is going to go out and try to settle him down a little bit. But it is pitch number 6, and our Fox Tracks does not lie.
So Votto on, representing the tying run. 137th walk. He continues to add to his and the Reds' all-time record. Now it's Phillips who's 0 for 3. Bourgeois took a called third strike. Bruce struck out. On a very close pitch, Votto draws the walk. Reds trying to do some damage here in the top of the 8th.
Now, how many walks is that for Votto all year long?
137.
137. Kind of interesting. I mean, you break down the numbers, and we try to do it in the booth, and that is the 74th walk for Joey Votto out of 137 with the bases empty. So pitcher's a little more reluctant to pitch to him with nobody on, because right now, at least the course of the season, there hasn't been a lot of thump behind him. Although Brandon Phillips is hoping to change that right here.
Phillips, of course, the man Cardinal fans love to dislike. Trying to come through against them right here. And that is a fair ball on the line. Votto going to hustle over to third as the right fielder Hayward comes up with the ball. It's going to end up being a double for Brandon Phillips. You saw in the graphic he had been only 1 for 8 lifetime against Segrist. He gets the double here. The Reds are really in business now.
I'll tell you what, when Brandon Phillips starts doing that, he becomes such a better hitter. I mean, that's the only reason why he is looking at possibly a 300 batting average at the end of the year. Well above his career average, because he's finally using the entire field, forsaking the home run swing, and in the process becoming a much more dangerous hitter.
Well, he gets the 2-base hit career double number 298 as he closes in on 300. 275 of those as a member of the Reds. Frazier's going to be walked intentionally, and then the Reds will need a pinch hitter for LeCure, and that's Ivan DeJesus Jr. is the man on deck as the Cardinal bullpen quickly gets busy. Seth Maness starts to throw down there. So from 2 out, nobody on, a close 3-2 pitch and a walk to Votto, a double on the right field line by Phillips, and an intentional walk to Frazier. And now Ivan DeJesus Jr. will be announced as the batter for LeCure, and let's see if the Cardinals counter with that, although you saw the split. Segrist has done a much better job getting righties than he has lefties. Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach of the Cardinals, goes to the mound. Sam LeCure, 1 inning, 1 run, 2 hits. They're trying to get him off the hook right here. He's now at this moment the pitcher of record. DeJesus hitting .246 with 22 RBIs, 3 for 18 this year as a pinch hitter. DeJesus Jr. did not appear in the game last night. 2 for 8 on the road trip. Oh, he takes 2 pitches, both called strikes, and now he's really in the hole and hasn't swung. Seems to be mouthing the word wow, doesn't he? What's Fox Track say on that? 2 strikes to DeJesus Jr. Carpenter inning over. Reds leave them loaded. They're stranded 8 and trail by a run in the middle of the 8th. For as low as $12. Arrive early, be one of the first 25,000 fans to receive a commemorative All-Star Game figurine presented by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Go ahead and visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/tickets. Big chance slipped away in the top of the 8th inning. And now Pedro Villarreal. In 8 days since he worked. First game out in San Francisco. He is on to try to keep it a 1-run game in the bottom of the 8th.
Very much below the radar. Pedro Villarreal has had an excellent year. I mean, you don't get a lot of accolades when you're the long man. Sometimes it's a mop-up role. Sometimes you're up there just to eat up innings to save the rest of the bullpen. But he has done an admirable job. Not unusual for a long reliever to have an earned run average north of 5, because sometimes they just sacrifice themselves and their earned run averages to save the rest of the pen.
I'll ask him to get 3 outs here in the bottom of the 8th and get up there in the 9th down by a run. 29th game, 49 innings worth of work for Villarreal. Peralta now. Reynolds' spot is next. Brandon Moss is on deck to pinch hit for him. And then Stephen Piscotty. Cardinals enter tonight with a magic number to clinch the Central of 9 over the Pirates. Pirates are leading at Colorado 6-3 in the 6th. Elimination number for the Cubs is 7. The Cubs have won tonight 4-0 at home over Milwaukee. There's A leadoff walk to Peralta here in the bottom of the 8th. There's Steve Cishek going in the Cardinal bullpen. Now Brandon Moss will bat for Mark Reynolds. Moss sees his first action of this series, hitting .241 with 4 home runs and 8 RBIs with his club for Brandon Moss. Moss came over here at the end of July from the Cleveland Indians for a minor leaguer, Rob Kamenetsky. He was having, in terms of power, a pretty good year for the Tribe, 15 home runs. And on the year, between the Tribe and the Cardinals, 19 homers, 58 driven in. Reds in the 9th inning will have the bottom of the order up. Suarez, Duvall, and Barnhart batting in the 9 spot. That figures to be, of course, against Trevor Rosenthal. To the leadoff walk. Moss the pinch hitter now. Piscotty on deck. And down on strikes goes Moss.
Boy, good looking pitch from Villarreal there. Had him set up after throwing inside fastballs. Had him chase that down and then slider.
Third of the way home for Villarreal here in the bottom of the 8th. Piscotty 0 for 2 with an intentional walk in this game. 1 for 6 in the series. Colton Wong on deck. Day and age where you just don't see many ballparks that are symmetrical in the outfield anymore. This one, for the most part, is.
Of course, they replaced one that you couldn't get more symmetrical than.
Right. This ballpark, 336 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 to the alleys, 400 to straightaway center. The things that you remember about the old Busch Stadium, which technically was Busch Stadium 2. 1, with the arches at the top all the way around the ballpark, and 2 was the automatic tarp roll machine on the first base side.
And if you don't remember that, just ask Vince Coleman to remind you about it.
That was a machine that was ahead of its time. In fact, so far ahead of its time, it never caught on. I don't remember, you may, but I don't remember any other ballpark having that, where that looked like a long line with a little T on the end on the first base side would rise up and a motor would drive that tarp out. Nobody pulled it. Went out onto the field by itself. That was when it was artificial turf.
Yeah, and it was covering an artificial turf field. That was the strange part.
Left field line by Piscotty. That's going to get in. Over to get it is Duvall. He'll throw to second, forcing the runner to go back to first. Pretty good throw out there by Adam Duvall right along the left field line.
Well, it's a headsy play by Duvall, number one, because he knew ahead of time what he was going to do with the baseball, depending on where it is hit. This ball's down the line, and he realizes that there's not going to be a play at third base right here. Runners all the way going to get there. But he wants to keep that double play in order. And he fires it right in there to Brandon Phillips. And Piscotty's thinking too right there.
So first and third now with one out for Colton Wong.
You can look for a ground ball right here to keep this deficit at 1.
Wong has a hit tonight, 1 for 3. This is going to be deep enough for Wong to get that run home. There's the catch as Peralta tags and scores, and it's 3-1. Wong sac fly, RBI 59.
Now the leadoff walk.
Now Tony Cruz will bat. 1 on, 1 in, 2 out. Reds are going to need a base runner to bring the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning. And it's still Steve Cishek, who has been throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. So apparently it's going to be Cishek and not Rosenthal. Cishek, a former Marlins closer, in the 9th inning. Badenhop is throwing in the Reds bullpen. Matt Holliday has emerged from the dugout. He will bat for the pitcher Segrist if the Cardinals keep things going here. The other team in this state of Missouri, the Kansas City Royals, had an opportunity tonight to lower their magic number to 1 in the American League Central, but Kansas City lost at home to Seattle 11-2. On Minnesota, the team closest on their heels, defeated Cleveland 3-1. So that magic number for the Royals stays at 3. Grab down the right field line here. One fan reached out. The young man in the red shirt. The ball appeared to go right between his hands. That young man in the green t-shirt calmly made the catch without the benefit of a glove.
Well, you see Villarreal continuing to try to crowd Tony Cruz with stuff on the inner part of the plate. Everything that Cruz has done good in this series has been either up the middle or to right field. He really likes to hit it that way. That's why they're keeping it on the hands. Got nowhere to go and a long time to get there.
Pedro has ground this game to a virtual standstill here at the bottom of the 8th. Villarreal's thrown 28 pitches. Hasn't worked since Monday the 14th, so it's been 8 days. Getting its time out on the mound here in this 1 inning tonight. Walked the leadoff man Peralta. Struck out the pinch hitter Moss. Piscotty hit that single down the left field line. A good play by Duvall kept Piscotty at first, but Peralta moved to third. Wong the sacrifice fly to right. And a elongated at bat here by Tony Cruz. And it ends with a strikeout. An appeal to first. Joe Cuzzy rings up the catcher Cruz. Villarreal gives up 1. Last chance upcoming for the Reds. Mo Egger from 700 WLW at the Holy Grail. Your chance to answer Reds trivia, win prizes, and be part of Reds Live. The fun starts Friday night at 6 at the Holy Grail. How about Kia in the driver's seat tonight? Not a Cardinal, not a Red, but right-hander of the Cubs, Jake Arrieta, becomes the first 20-game winner in the big leagues as he has complete game shutout tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. He is now 9-0 with a 0.66 ERA over his last 11 starts, all of which have been winners for Chicago. First time in Arrieta's career he's won 20, and again the first 20-game winner in the big leagues this year. Jake Arrieta in the driver's seat, brought to you by Kia. Congratulations to Arrieta. What a turnaround in his career once he came to Chicago.
Well, you're not kidding about that, and the Cubs are happy to have him at the top of their rotation.
Steve Cishek comes on to try to save it for John Lackey. Suarez will lead things off. 3-1 Cardinals. Major league leader in saves, Rosenthal, has 47. Cishek has 3 saves this year with St. Louis. Brandon Moss stays in the game. He's now at first base. Strike three called. He took a 1-2 breaking ball. Cishek gets the first out here in the ninth.
You can see by his arm angle that he would give right-handers absolute fits. Number one, because he makes you freeze. Number two, because you see very few right-handed pitchers that throw that low with an arm angle. So it takes a little while for hitters to get used to, and of course you only see him once.
He has a grand total in his career, does Cishek, of 94 saves. Last year he had 39 with the Marlins. 2 years ago 34. Not in that same role here with the Cardinals. He quickly gets ahead of Duvall. 0-2. Tucker Barnhart on deck, batting out of the 9 spot. Down the line and left. Piscotty on the run. Piscotty dives. He can't get it. And that's a third hit of the night for Adam Duvall. That's the first for him, not only this year, but in his career.
And also a pretty good bit of base running by Duvall, too. I mean, he's hustling hard out of the box. The kid plays hard. And he realizes, though, his team is 2 runs down. So him getting to second base maybe not quite as important as it would be in a 1-run game. Well, that's a nice play out there by Piscotty.
So with the base runner, the Reds do bring the tying run to the plate in the person of Tucker Barnhart. Foul ball called by Phil Cuzzy, the first base umpire. Close. Tucker has 3 home runs this year, all from the left side. Cruz and Cishek get together.
Cishek was the closer down in Miami to start the season, but he had such a rough time of it that they lost his closer's job. He ended up being sent down to the minor leagues at the beginning of June, and the Cardinals think they may have found a diamond in the rough.
Jason Bourgeois on deck. Barnhart battling here against the veteran Cishek.
Cishek has been pretty much perfect against the Reds. He's been in 6 ball games, of course, all of those as a member of the Marlins. Has not yet given up a run.
Oh, strike 3 called to Barnhart.
Well, a little side-winding breaking ball that is nasty enough for us to call our flamethrower. Brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Right on the outside corner, Barnhart goes down, and the Reds are down to 1.
Bourgeois 2 for 4. This is in the air to shallow right. Hayward makes the play. The Cardinals have taken the first 2 games of this series. They won last night 2-1. They win tonight over the Reds by the final score of 3-1. Well, they can't say the Reds didn't have their chances, though.
Well, you know, it's kind of the way the Cardinals have turned the tables on the Reds. When the Reds last played here, they left town with back-to-back shutouts. First 2 games of this series, Cardinal pitching has pretty much shut down the Reds' bats.
3-1 the final. The Cardinals lower that magic number to 8. We'll come back with more in a moment.